This is another one of Fitness Blender's kettlebell cardio workouts. In this routine, we're going to be going through 10 different kettlebell intervals, and we're going to be doing this for 40 seconds on and 20 seconds off per exercise. We're going through one round of each exercise, and you'll definitely need some kind of weight to do this routine, whether you're using a kettlebell or swapping it out for a dumbbell, it doesn't matter, but you'll need some kind of weight resistance. So let's go ahead and get ready for our first exercise, which is going to be an alternating kettlebell swing. Go ahead and select the amount of weight you're going to be needing for this one. Kelly's actually going to be using 25 pounds for this. So let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Grab that kettlebell and begin. Start swinging that kettlebell between those legs, a little bit of a quarter squat, and then snap those hips coming up from that squat really nice and quick to build momentum into that kettlebell, slinging that kettlebell up to about shoulder height. Now make sure that at the very top of that range of motion, you're alternating those hands, so you're using just one hand for that swing. You switch hands at the top of that range of motion right about the point where that kettlebell starts to kind of hover, where it switches from going up to back down. So make sure you have a really nice straight back with this, really driving through with those legs, getting a quick snap to help you get that kettlebell up to that shoulder height, using just a little bit of shoulder to get it the rest of the way. You've got just a few seconds left. And let it relax. Good job. All right, let's go and move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a crush curl. You're going to want to use a relatively light amount of weight with this, barely using those hands, so it's going to take a lot of chest and bicep strength to do this exercise. So if you've never done this before, you'll definitely want to start with something really nice and light. Kelly's going to be using 8 pounds for this. So let's go ahead and get ready. And let's go ahead and begin by grabbing that kettlebell. You're going to squeeze it with those hands on either side, trying to only use that palm of your hand, trying to let those fingers actually touch that weight. You want to try to keep them away from that weight as much as you can. That way, you're only squeezing with those palms. It makes it a lot harder, so your chest really has to squeeze as tight as you can, so you're getting a lot of chest work, trying to squeeze those hands together at the same time as using those biceps to do that curl motion. So 8 pounds is not going to be very difficult for Kelly for that curl just by itself, but because she's having to squeeze those hands in together, it makes it much more difficult. So you got about 10 seconds left to go. Just keep squeezing as tight as you can. Remember, only the palm of that hand. Try to keep those fingertips either very lightly touching or completely off altogether. And let it relax. Good job. Go ahead and set that kettlebell down. Get ready for our next exercise, which is going to be a clean and press. Kelly's going to be using 16 pounds for this one. This is a really nice choppy motion. It takes a lot of just kind of brute strength to push it up. You're trying to use as much momentum as possible with this one. So let's go ahead and get ready for it. We've got about 5 seconds left until we start. And let's start up. Go ahead and grab that kettlebell using one arm at a time only. Squat down, get a nice quick hop. Get that kettlebell up to that rack position or on that elbow, the bend of that elbow, and then another little quick squat to help shove it the rest of the way up. So it's a real quick jerk up to that shoulder, and then another quick jerk from that shoulder all the way over that head. Just keep that motion going, keep that back perfectly flat the entire time. You don't want to let that lower back round. You don't want to arch that chest or round it forward. Just keep that motion going. Like I said, really nice, quick, choppy motions. Make sure that each position is held for just a split second before you move to the next. You actually want to combine them so they're really kind of a fluid motion, but at the same time, you want to keep each motion separate. So we're almost done. And let it relax. Good job. We're going to do the same exact exercise again, but this time on that opposite arm. So go ahead and get ready for that. Keep those feet moving around. No complete resting. You want to have an active rest. Make sure you're at least shuffling those feet back and forth, preferably even jogging in place. We're almost done. We've got 5 seconds left until we have to start into our next exercise. And start up. So go ahead and grab that kettlebell with that opposite hand. Remember, using that really quick jerking motion, a little bit of a squat to kind of pop that weight up to that shoulder. And then again, another real quick explosion squat to get that kettlebell from that shoulder all the way over top of that head. So just keep that motion going. Nice, quick, jerky motions. Again, short little pause in each position, making sure you're using as much momentum as you can. That shoulder shouldn't really have to do a whole lot of work for this, more than just stabilizing. Now, if you're starting to use that shoulder too much, just start pushing more into that squat, a little bit more of a jerky hop motion. You've got just a few seconds left. And let it relax. Good job. We got both arms done on that one. So let's move to a next exercise, which is going to be a halo tricep extension. So we're doing a traditional halo motion for a kettlebell, but you're going to stop at the back position and do a tricep extension before we come all the way back around. Just got a few seconds left. Kelly's been using 12 pounds, so pick your weight accordingly. And let's go ahead and get ready. And let's go ahead and start it. Grab that kettlebell so the weight, the bottom portion, is above your hands. Do that halo motion, so around one side, keep those elbows nice and close to your head. Stop with both those hands behind your head. Do a nice full tricep extension. Get those arms to a full extension above your head. Drop it back down the same position, and then finish that halo going around the other side, pausing in front of your body before you come back the opposite direction. Just keep alternating back and forth, pausing in front of your chest every single time, and then pausing behind your head to do that tricep extension. So make sure you're keeping those elbows pulled in nice and close to your head. Don't let them kick out really wide, especially as you're doing that tricep extension. Got just a few seconds left. Keep those lungs open and let it relax. Good job. Go ahead and set that kettlebell down. Let's move on to our next exercise, which can be a burpee jerk. This is actually a combination of two separate exercises. We're just kind of pushing them together, so you can be doing a burpee motion. Instead of doing a jump at the top, you're going to do a high jerk or a high row. So we've got a few seconds left. Kelly's going to be using 16 pounds for this one, so pick your weight that you're going to be using, and let's go ahead and get ready. And let's go ahead and start up. Drop down to that burpee, kick those feet out, come back up, grab that kettlebell, standing up relatively slowly from that squat. Pull that dumbbell or that kettlebell straight up to those shoulders, elbows up nice and high and out to the side. Then slowly drop it back down and drop it back out into that burpee, kicking those feet out behind you, then right back up. Make sure you're trying to get those hips underneath you before you start that jerk. You want to kind of make sure you're keeping a straight line through that body rather than bending over, doing more of a deadlift motion. Now we've got just a few seconds left. Just keep those lungs open, keep moving nice and smooth. Almost done. And let it relax. Nicely done. Go ahead and drop that kettlebell. Let's move on to our next exercise, which can be a toe touch crunch. So it's just like a traditional toe touch crunch. The only difference is you're holding that kettlebell or dumbbell in your hands, pushing that weight up towards those feet instead of just those hands. So Kelly's been using 16 pounds for this one. Go ahead and pick whichever weight you want to use and go ahead and get ready. And let's start up. Go ahead and grab that kettlebell or that dumbbell, whatever weight you're using, up in those hands and crunch it up towards those toes. And make sure you keep those abs nice and tight. Every single time you drop back to the floor to lay back down, make sure you don't completely relax those abs. Keep them slightly contracted the entire time, crunching those hands up towards those toes as high as you possibly can. Just keep pushing that range of motion. Keep those lungs open. Try to make sure you're getting a really nice smooth contraction on the way up. Don't make it a really jerky motion. You want to take your time, slowly crunching up and slowly coming back down. Don't make it a really, really quick rushed motion. Otherwise, you're going to start building momentum into it and you're going to lose out on ranges of motion. So really, really focus on a nice tight squeeze. Almost done. And let it relax. Good job. Go ahead and drop that kettlebell or that dumbbell off to the side. Let's go ahead and get ready for our next exercise, which is going to be a lunge drop plus a row. Now again, this is an exercise using two separate motions. One is that kind of lunge where you're dropping that knee back down, and the other one is that row where you're bent over, drawing that dumbbell up and out to the side. So very, very specific motions. Kelly's been using 8 pounds for this one, so pick what you're going to use. Get ready. And start up. Down in that lunge with that back leg straight, front leg slightly bent. You're going to draw that dumbbell up and out to the side. Keep that elbow out nice and wide. Try not to rotate those shoulders. Keep that chest and those shoulders facing down towards the ground with a nice flat back. Then as soon as you're done with that row motion, you bend that rear leg, drop that knee down to the ground, and then right back up again. Straighten that leg out, and then do that row one more time. Just keep alternating back and forth between those two different motions, making sure you're trying to keep both of them nice and clean. Get a good row on that arm and a nice low lunge with that leg. Got a few seconds left until we switch sides. And go ahead and let it relax. Drop that kettlebell for just a second. We're going to be doing the same thing on the other side. Same exact weight. Keep those feet moving around. Remember, this is an active rest, so at least shuffling those feet back and forth, preferably kind of jogging in place. Got 10 seconds until we start into that other side. All right, let's go ahead and get ready. And start up. Grab that kettlebell with that opposite hand this time. The opposite legs kick back behind you. Again, same exact motion. Start that row first. Get that elbow up and out to the side as wide as you can, as high as you can. Slowly drop it back down once that arm's to a complete extension. Then you drop that knee for that lunge. Extend that leg back out again, that rear leg at least, to a full extension, and then do that row again. Make sure that back is staying nice and flat. As you come up from that lunge, make sure you're trying to keep that chest tilted over forward as close to parallel to the ground as you can. It's going to be closer to about a 45-degree angle, but just try to get as low to the ground as you can comfortably on that back. Got just a few seconds left to go. And let it relax. Good job. Let's go ahead and move on to our next and last exercise, a full kettlebell swing. Now, instead of using a single arm like we did for the first swing, we're going to be using both arms, and we're going to try to get a little bit more range of motion out of it. So Kelly's going to be using 30 pounds for this one. So go ahead and select your weight, and let's go ahead and get ready. And go ahead and start up. Grab that kettlebell, start that swing. Snap those hips, get that kettlebell going. Make sure you're trying to get it really nice and high to at least shoulder height. If you want to try to get it a little bit higher than that, you can slowly trying to push a little bit more oomph into it with those shoulders and those legs. Try and get that kettlebell up to about a 45-degree angle, pointing up away from your body. Now, that's only if you can control it with your core, if your back is strong enough, if your abs are strong enough. Otherwise, just shoulder height is all you really need to worry about. Just keep that motion going, keep those lungs open, keep those core muscles nice and tight, keep that snap going with those legs. Have just a few seconds left to go, so keep pushing through it 100%. Make sure you're really tiring yourself out. Almost done, just a couple seconds left. And let it relax. Good job. That was your last round of your last exercise, which means this workout is complete. Good job.